violation of the rights of others. So when you think about that, their personality is to mess with you. That's what they want to do. And they have to have, and it occurs since the age of 15, 3 or more of the following. Failure to conform to social norms with respect to lawful behaviors as indicated by repeatedly performing acts or grounds for arrest, and they almost always have a criminal record. Deceitfulness as indicated by repetitive lying, use of aliases, or conning others for personal profit or pleasure. They're always out to trick you to get what they want. They're gonna lie to you and do whatever they want to do to get what they want. Impulsivity or failure to plan ahead. Just do what's good, you know. They made me mad, so I shot her. Okay? Could you get arrested? You could go to jail? You know, just do what you want to do. Irritability and aggressiveness as indicated by repeated physical fights or assaults. These people always have a physical record for the most part. Reckless disregard for the safety of self or others. Consistent irresponsibility as indicated by repeated failure to sustain consistent work behavior or honor financial obligations. So they're usually deadbeats, don't keep a job, move from job to job. And then lack of remorse. This is the one that's scary. They're indifferent to, or they rationalize having hurt somebody, mistreated, or stolen from another. So they do what they want by whatever method needed to do it. And they don't really feel bad for you that they've done it because it's kind of what was right and entitled to them anyway. So they will do things to you. They can beat somebody up. They don't really have a twinge in their heart. You might have a conscience about doing something bad to somebody after you've done it. Well, they don't. And so that, to me, is chilling, because when you don't have any sense of feeling bad about what you've done, what won't you do? You know, that's really kind of the brakes on all of us, is you just can't do things to people, and they will do things to people. Okay, this is the diagnosis that actually has an age on it, and there's a reason for that, and I'm going to get to it in a second, but they have to be at least 18 years old, because when you're under 18 years old, so there's a thing called conduct disorder, and we will talk about that. It's a little second. It's not a personality disorder, but it is a diagnosis. There is evidence of conduct disorder with onset before age 15, so that can be a criteria. They may have had conduct disorder already at a younger age, but they have to be 18 to have a personality disorder that's antisocial. If I said a person's 17 years old and I said he has antisocial personality disorder, the answer would be no, he does not, because he's not 18. He'll be something else. He'll be conduct disorder, some other kind of deviant personality. There is no other one that has an age limit on it. Antisocial is the only one. You have to be 18 or above. These others don't really have it because they're childhood, early adolescence, you know. The occurrence of antisocial behavior is not exclusively during the course of schizophrenia or manic episode. They're just bad because. Okay, really bad. Okay, here's one.
People with narcissistic or obsessive personality disorders can be difficult to live with, but people with antisocial personality disorders can be dangerous. And while some function within society's boundaries, others, such as the prisoners you will see in this television program, are violent people who have committed serious crimes. It is estimated that up to 4% of the population has antisocial personality disorder, with men outnumbering women 4-1.
My name is Dean Lindstrom. I'm 37 years old. I'm doing a second-degree life sentence with 18 to 20 concurrent sentences with a 4 to 5 from and after. The crime that I'm on is a murder. It was drug-related, and I've been in since I came in originally in 1978, and I escaped in 1979, and I've been back since 1980. Ran out of money. I wanted to go get drunk down in Cambridge. I lived out in the outskirts, out in a smaller town from the inner city, and I ran out of money. It was late at night, and I wanted to go down and get loaded. And it's sort of along the lines of, you know, I wasn't weighing the consequences of what it was, and even if I was weighing the consequences, I really didn't care. I wasn't looking that far ahead. I certainly wasn't looking far enough ahead to say, you know, I'm going to spend the next 17 or 18 years of my life in jail. Specifically, I murdered a guy in his kitchen. I shot his wife in the chest. I hit her in the face with the gun. I beat the husband prior and during the course of this whole thing. And my thoughts during that whole affair were along the lines of, you know, what the hell do you think you're doing? And when it came down to making a decision, the gun had been like going back and forth, aimed at my head, aimed at his head, aimed back at me, and we were in a struggle. And the last thought that I recall, really like that I can recall that I had was, now you're gonna die. And that was it. That was sort of like a decision that was made. I was mad. I was, you know, like it's crazy that you know, like indignant that he'd be fighting with me.
You know, that's just, that's hard to believe, honestly, that somebody could do that, do what he did. Okay, get out of here. Escape. You know, look at the criteria. Okay, he did not live up to norms of society with respect to lawful behaviors. Deceitfulness, I don't know that I got a lot of that. We didn't get too much of his history. We don't know how he got in the house. He wanted to get drunk, so he was going to go murder somebody to get the resources, to get the money, the money to go buy the alcohol. So we don't know how he got in. Impulsivity, he did have that, failure to plan ahead. Irritability and aggressiveness, I'd say. Reckless disregard for safety of others, yes. Consistent irresponsibility, we don't really get that so much, even though the behavior is irresponsible and terrible, but the lack of remorse, indifferent to or rationalizing having hurt, mistreated, or stolen from another. Sitting there saying the thought is, oh, you know, how dare you? I'm indignant at you because you're responding to me because I'm in your house, you know, shooting your wife. I mean, just think about that. How do you, it's hard for me to grab that behavior type. Okay, scary. You know, it's scary. You know, Hannibal Lecter is antisocial personality. Have y'all seen the movie about Ted Bundy, who did all the murders across the country before he finally got caught in the Florida State sorority house, you know, with the baseball bat, you know, raping people? Have you ever seen that? Y'all are probably at an age, it happened, and most of y'all were born in the 90s, late 80s, 90s. And this was like a late 70s, early 80s type thing. And it was awful. And this person, what he would do, everybody was in love with him. He was the most charming person. And they did a movie which was based on his life up to that point. Everybody wanted to go out with him. They loved him. He would tell women what they wanted to hear. And he was pretty good looking. This is actually who he is. And he would take them out, and he would beat them, rape them, murder them, throw their bodies somewhere, cut them up. I mean, it was ridiculous. But when you'd see him walking around, you would just think, oh, what a very attractive person. And then he would do the stuff. He conned his way into the sorority house and got in there and, I don't know, raped several people, beat people, but he finally got caught in there. Then he was on trial, and he was like indignant that he was being on trial. They asked for it, and just, what's the problem here? I mean, this whole persona in the courtroom was totally bizarre, crazy. I mean, personality disorder.
Didn't he escape too?
You know, I'm trying to remember back if he did get out.
I think he
can Google it. I don't remember.
I think he was arrested and then he escaped again.
He had, before he got to Florida, he'd actually been on the, like Colorado and West Coast. He'd been on one side of the country, then he moved all the way over. So he moved around a lot so that he really couldn't be tracked so easily. And he would have aliases and be a different person with a different background. And he really preyed on women. He liked to get women and would do terrible things. Now, Hannibal Lecter, how many of y'all seen The Silence of the Lambs, all that series of movies? Okay, Dr. Tessie will not go see it. She has never, ever seen Hannibal Lecter, ever. And I said, you have to see it at least once in your life. She says, no, I don't. I would go with other friends because I love to go watch these movies that make, I don't know what that makes me, but I like to see weird people doing crazy things, and he's one of them. 3 to 5% of men, 1% of women, so it's that. Most common in poor urban areas, I don't know. know, maybe stressors of life, it shows up more there. 75% of these people are in prison, thank goodness. It's the other 25% we need to be worried about, plus the new ones being born. There's a familial pattern present among first-degree relatives, so people with antisocial personality disorder, if they reproduce, tend to have children that have antipersonal personality disorder. And can you only imagine what their life is like growing up in a house with a parent like that? It's almost impossible to be normal. This pattern of personality is also referred to as psychopathy or sociopathy. So when you hear somebody say psychopath, it's antisocial personality disorder. Sociopath is antisocial personality disorder. It's also called dissocial personality disorder, not for social, not for society. But psychopath, sociopath, antisocial personality disorder. Scary. How do you interact with a person with antisocial personality disorder? Don't. Okay. Set firm limits. Try not to be manipulated because they are lying to you all the time. Have a high level of suspicion. They will tell you what they want to get from you, what they need. And it's very difficult. Y'all are honest people, and you're going to want to receive what somebody says to you with the integrity that you would bring to a conversation. These people are very convincing, very compelling, but they're lying. So they will tell you anything. They would manipulate pain to get pain medicines. They would do all this stuff. You just never know where they're coming from. So you have to be very skeptical. Be careful not to prescribe excessive or unnecessary medications because they just work them, get them, use them, sell them, do whatever. And all they need is something else to alter their behavioral inhibitions, which are already not there. Okay, detour, this is not a personality disorder. I just want to give it to you so that you can have seen conduct disorder. So we're going to go detour away. Conduct disorder is in a grouping of disorders called disruptive impulse control and conduct disorders. It's just a DSM-5 category. I don't expect you to remember. I'm just telling you it's somewhere else. But because conduct disorder was one of those criteria for being antisocial personality, they're saying that at younger ages they were a conduct disorder diagnosis, and then they finally hit the age of 18, and you can call them antisocial. But conduct disorder, repetitive and persistent pattern of behavior in which the basic rights of others or major age-appropriate societal norms or rules are violated. So again, it's this tramping on the rights of other people, their body, their space, their person. Manifested by the presence of at least 3 of the following 15 criteria in the past 12 months. This is a lot of criteria, just to look at it. Aggression to people or animals. Bullies, threatens, or intimidates others. Often initiates fights. Has used a weapon that can cause serious physical harm to others, like a bat, a brick, a broken bottle, a knife, or a gun. Has been physically cruel to people. Has been physically cruel to animals. That's where it ends for me, Buster. I would absolutely let them have it if they mess with my animals. Has stolen while confronting a victim, mugging, purse snatching, extortion, armed robbery. That's armed robbery. I don't know what I did there. Has forced someone into sexual activity. Another area could be destruction of property. Has deliberately engaged in fire setting with the intention of causing serious damage, burn a house down. Has deliberately destroyed others' property other than by fire, like breaking windows out with a bat, spray painting all over the living room wall or something. Deceitfulness or theft. Broken into someone else's house, building, or car. Lies to get goods or favors to avoid obligations. A con person. Has stolen items of non-trivial value without confronting a victim. Shoplifting, breaking and entering, forgery. Serious violations of rules. Often stays out at night despite parental prohibitions beginning before age 13. Has run away from home and stayed overnight at least twice while living in the parental or parental surrogate home, or once without returning for a lengthy period of time. Often truant from school beginning at age 13. If the individual is 18 years of older, the criteria are not met for antisocial personality disorder. So to do conduct disorder, you have to, first of all, you have to look at the age. If they're over 18 and they meet all the criteria for antisocial personality disorder, then that's what they are. If they can't meet that, but they've got other things in here, then you can call them a conduct disorder. These are just bad children, and these are the ones who kill their parents because you see it happening early on. They're usually in juvenile delinquents in detention centers, a lot of things like that can happen to them. Okay, back to personality disorders. Borderline. You hear a lot about borderline personality. Does anybody know borderline personality? Anybody? It's kind of hard to call, and if you did know it, you might not want to actually put a label on it. Okay? Borderline personality disorder. And this, I like this image because they are different people at different times, but they're basically shattered personalities, and they shatter life because they are not the same thing every day, all the time. And it's extremely scary how different that person can be from one day to the next. It's a very self-destructive personality disorder. Okay. It's a pervasive pattern of instability of interpersonal relationships. If you've ever known a person with borderline personality disorder, they have left carnage in your relationship with them. They have unstable interpersonal relationships, self-image. They don't think about the way they are the same all the time, and they have instability of their affect, instability of relationships, image, affects, and they have marked impulsivity beginning at an early age. They have to have 5 or more of the following: frantic efforts to avoid real or imagined abandonment. They don't want to be abandoned. Don't fall in love with a borderline person. They'll wreck your life. I mean, they will. And I'm not, if you had it, I feel bad because it's a difficult personality disorder. A pattern of unstable and intense interpersonal relationships characterized by alternating between streams of idealization and devaluation. So, one day the person they're with is perfect in every way, my dream person. The next day, not worth crap. And they will go after them with a vengeance. And this person like, what? So it's very difficult to deal with in a relationship. Identity disturbance, markedly and persistently unstable self-image or sense of self. They may feel really good about themselves for 3 or 4 or 5 days in a row, and then if you're with them, it's like, oh, that's the person's got it all together. And then you might have a run of 3, 4, 5 days where they think they're absolutely worthless, no good, and they don't tell them what they would do. Impulsivity in at least 2 areas that are potentially self-damaging: spending too much money, sex with people indiscriminately. So if you're in a relationship with somebody, they could just as soon cheat on you 1 week and come back, and then all of a sudden you're left with that. Substance abuse, reckless driving, binge eating. They have recurrent suicidal behavior, gestures, or threats, or self-mutilating behavior. And this is more, not with the intent of really killing themselves, but with the intent of manipulating you, drawing you in, getting you back if they rebuff you and torn you up some way. Affective instability due to marked reactivity of mood. For example, they have intense episodic dysphoria, irritability, or anxiety, usually lasting a few hours and only rarely more than a few days. But when they're in that phase, you don't want to be around. Inappropriate, intense anger or difficulty controlling anger. Frequent displays of temper, constant anger, recurrent physical fights. Transient stress-related paranoid ideation or severe dissociative symptoms. So they have a lot of things going on. Okay, here is a borderline personality.
People want to know what it's like living with borderline personality disorder.
You wouldn't think it.
It feels like you aren't living at all, or you're possibly too alive. You're a person that feels the highest of high and the lowest low. You're easily triggered by small things. The way a person looks at their watch while talking to you makes you feel unheard. Someone telling you to think positive or change makes you feel unseen. People telling you that suicide is for cowards makes you feel misunderstood. You find yourself living somewhat normal and even happy one day. Then something triggers you, and you quickly abandon everything and anything that you're close to. Relationships are the hardest. You find yourself constantly pushing the people you love the most away, while the voices in your head are screaming, stop. But you can't. And you slowly begin to destroy the relationships you care about the most. At times you find yourself to be a burden, impossible for anyone to ever love. At times you shine so bright and feel loved, but it can easily turn to dark when you're triggered by some small, hurtful comment. Anger pulses through your body, and you struggle to control the darkness upon yourself. In order to control the pain, you can inflict harm on your body, telling yourself you deserve it, or to prove you're alive. There's a constant thought of not wanting to live that you carry. At times it feels like a warm blanket. Other times you feel trapped in a nightmare. Trusting people is difficult. There can be a fear that they will see the real you, the dark you, that you believe is unlovable. Most of the time, you may struggle to know who you really are. It's difficult to express how you really feel, and you end up appearing like a tornado, destroying relationships and opportunities. It can feel like the world's against you, that things are happening to you. Once the tornado has begun, you are hard to reach. You are a warrior in the dark forest with no compass and are unable to tell who the actual enemy is. So, you never feel safe. Once the darkness becomes strong, you begin to implode, destroying yourself and any trace of you. Then you have two choices. You can reach out for help, or you may attempt a suicide. But as a borderline, you are resilient, and you try again. You've suffered so deeply, so much of the time. You push on, searching for hope, love, and compassion. I am borderline.
Good. Okay, so that's a tough personality disorder to deal with in patients. I had one, and she let me have it too. For after a while, she had actually come down because she had been basically sent away by every other provider she had had, and she eventually migrated away down to Oklahoma City. She had metabolic disorder, and she ended up in the diabetes clinic where I was working, and I got her, and she was, you know, there's just something odd about her from the beginning. She's very demonstrative and liked what was being offered to her, but every time you're with her, you always felt like you were being manipulated to do something you didn't want to do, that there was something about the way she was forcing it. And I had a psychology fellow with me, and she said, I think this woman's borderline, and if you don't do what she wants, she could explode in 1 second. And I remember the next time she came, she wanted to go someplace. I didn't want to go with her here because it wasn't the right thing to do. And I told her, and she just absolutely blew up. And between that visit and the one where she blew up, I had actually called her providers back in North Oklahoma. She'd been in several different little small towns. And I was trying to get records. I was trying to find stuff. And when I picked up, I called one office, and the lady picked up the phone, and I said, we're missing information, and I was told that you had once seen this patient, and that we could call And she said, oh, her. And it's like, the whole conversation, like, okay, something not right here. And from that point forward, I did tell her, I refused to do something that should have been refused. And she exploded. She cursed me, she threw every F-bomb, it was just violent. And it was crazy, and I thought, better not touch me. I mean, she was really going crazy. And so I discharged from clinic. And she went to the front desk and, I'm not coming back in here anymore. And I said, no, you're not, because we're putting you on the list of people who cannot come to this clinic. I used to be very straight with her. And never saw again about it. But our end wasn't any different than any other end that she had, because nobody could work with her. She'd be really, the first couple of visits were so positive, so, ooh, we're getting somewhere. Then it was like, we're not going anywhere. And she'll just scratch my eyes out just to listen. And she did. 1-2% of the population, some report up to 5.9. Women account for 75% of the cases, 5 times more common in first-degree biological relatives than those with the disorder. So borderline personality tends to create borderline personality. Increased prevalence of major depressive disorders, alcohol abuse dependence, and substance abuse are found in first-degree relatives. There's the movie that you see a lot when you Google up borderline personality. I can't call that a movie, but it's Michael Douglas and Glenn Close. He has an affair with her in the elevator one time, and then she gets real attached to him, and eventually comes back to disrupt his family. You know, what's the name of that movie? Do y'all remember? It's a movie that goes back to, it's probably the early 80s, and she's crazy. If I can think of it, I'll send it out to you in email, but it's a good movie, but it's borderline personality. She's really strange. How do you interact with a patient with borderline personality? Be aware of and anticipate defenses. Be aware that they often regress through self-sabotage and treatment plans. So you can do good things, be going along with you, and then they will just completely not do what you say and look completely out of control and be blaming you, but they're actually doing it on purpose. Kind of like that woman was going to commit suicide. It's usually a gesture, but it's used to draw people back into you when you kind of wrecked your relationship up to that point. So when you're a provider, don't get too excited about how effective you're going to be long term, because you probably won't be. Provide open and continuous communication with staff about who the person is and what they're doing, because they wheedle and work all the crowd, in an area. Maintain stable and calm reaction. Just stay calm. Gently confront when needed. When I confronted, I wasn't gentle, but it wasn't mean. It was just direct. Boom. I mean, it was like in a second. Kind of surprising. A little naive me. Set fair and consistent limits on acting out, because they do act out, and you have to just kind of, this is not acceptable here. I can see that you're emotionally upset and distressed, and I can't provide care right now. I'm very happy to work with you when you're able to get a hold of yourself. If you'd like to go sit in the waiting area and get calm, we can do that, but I cannot stay in the room with you. I've just done that, and just tell people just straight up, not doing that. And it's not mean, it's just very factual. They'll eat your time up carrying on in a room, and it's like you don't have time for it. So I'm just very calm, very matter of fact. I'm gonna let you sit here for 5 minutes. I'll come back, and if you're ready to go, we can go. If not, then we'll have to end our visit today. I'm sorry. Just say it, and then it works. Okay. Any questions about borderline personality disorder? Okay. Let's do history on it. This is a good one too. I like this one. A pervasive pattern of excessive emotionality and attention seeking. When you're in a room with people and you've got one person who always has to have people looking at them and they always have to be the center of attention, suspect histrionic personality disorder. 5 or more of the following: is uncomfortable in situations in which he or she is not the center of attention, so they will work to be the center of attention. Interaction with others is often characterized by inappropriately sexually seductive or provocative behavior. They like to touch, and they usually dress pretty far out. In women, it's deep cleavage, tight-fitting clothes. They're showing their body is part of their deal to be the center of attention. displays rapidly shifting and shallow expression of emotions. Consistently uses physical appearance to draw attention to self. Has a style of speech that is excessively impressionistic and lacking in detail, kind of superficial. Shows self-dramatization, theatricality, and exaggerated expression. Is suggestible, that is, easily influenced by others or circumstances. Considers relationships to be more intimate than they actually are. Okay, now the video clip, everybody in here seen Mean Girls? Regina George is the histrionic personality of record. Okay, and it's true. Okay, y'all know the type. I'm on to do a little,
What's up, guys? I'm Carly Kloss, and today I'm going to show you how you can build your very own website with
We won't do all of this, we'll do it though.
She's the queen bee, a star. Those other two are just her little workers.
Regina George. How do I even begin to explain Regina George? Regina George is flawless. She has 2 Fendi purses and a silver Lexus.
I hear her hair's in a shirt for $10,000.
I hear she does car commercials in Japan.
Her favorite movie is Varsity Blues.
One time she met John Stamos on a plane.
And he told her she was pretty.
One time, she punched me in the face. It was awesome.
Obviously, Regina's got it all. She is the leader of the Mean Girl clique and makes everyone feel inferior. Regina comes from a very wealthy family, doesn't work, and has everything handed to her. What most people don't realize is the abnormal relationship Regina has with her parents. Her mom would rather hang out with Regina and her friends than be a parent figure. Regina's parents gave up the master bedroom just because Regina demanded it. Regina is very preoccupied with her looks. She constantly talks about how she's fat or not pretty enough, and she often seeks confirmation about her body and looks through her friends and other people. Her obsession with her appearance is probably one of her biggest weaknesses, as she spends much of her time seeking new ways of losing weight. The abnormal behavior and personality traits that Regina displays characterize histrionic personality disorder.
Oh, no. Didn't anybody tell you? You were supposed to wear a costume.
Shut up. I need to talk to you. You know that girl Katie?
Yeah, she's cool. I invited her tonight.
Well, be careful because she has a huge crush on you.
Really? How do you know?
Because she told me. She tells everybody. It's kind of cute, actually. She's like a little girl. She writes all over her notebook, Mrs. Erin Samuels. And she made this t-shirt that says, I Heart Erin, and she wears it under all her clothes.
Oh, come on.
Well, who can blame her? I mean, you're gorgeous. And okay, look, I'm not saying she's a stalker, but she saved this Kleenex you used, and she said she's gonna do some kind of African voodoo with it to make you like her.
What?
This was it. Regina said she would talk to Erin for me, and now she was.
I know she's kind of socially retarded and weird, but she's my friend, so just promise me you won't make fun of her.
Of course I'm not going to make fun of her.
How could Janice hate Regina? She was such a good...
Histrionic personality disorder is a condition in which people act in a very emotional and dramatic way that draws attention to themselves. Someone with this disorder wants to be the center of attention in any group of people, and they feel uncomfortable when they're not. While people with this disorder are often lively and interesting, they have difficulty accepting when people aren't focused exclusively on them. They may be perceived as being shallow and often engage in sexually seductive behavior to get attention.
Wait. Sit down. Seriously, sit down. Why don't I know you?
I'm new. I just moved here from Africa.
What?
I used to be homeschooled.
Wait, what?
My mom taught me at home.
No, I know what homeschool is. I'm not retarded. So you've actually never been to a real school before? That's really interesting.
Thanks.
You're really pretty.
Thank you.
So you agree? I think you're really pretty.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh my god, I love your bracelet. Where did you get it?
Oh, my mom made it for me.
It's adorable.
So fetch.
What is fetch?
Oh, it's like slang from England.
Okay, you should just know that we don't do this a lot, so this is like a really huge deal.
We want to invite you to have lunch with us every day for the rest of the week.
Oh, it's okay. Coolness. So we'll see you tomorrow.
A person with histrionic personality disorder has culturally abnormal behavior in certain areas. These areas include cognition, or the way they perceive things, affectivity, which is the range and intensity of emotional responses, interpersonal functioning, and impulse control. In the previous clip, Regina displays abnormal behavior in interpersonal functioning. She doesn't know how to handle someone else receiving more attention than her. Regina will do anything in her power to become best friends with the person receiving all the attention. In this next clip, Regina sabotages her friends. This displays interpersonal functioning as well as affectivity because she doesn't have any remorse for turning her friends against each other.
I'm gonna stop
Busted.
it.
Just start apologizing
I think
and crying.
you got-
No,
you
it's
can
playing
watch
quick.
the rest of it when you get into there, but you get what she's about, so that's pretty classic. Okay. All right. So it's, 1.84% of the population, similar prevalence among men and women, most likely, even though you usually see statistics that say it's more common in women, it's probably 50-50. May use a suicide gesture to get attention, as we said. So how do you interact with them? The interactions are similar to those used with borderline personality. Again, being skeptical of motives, being calm, not trying to be too confrontational. Medical illnesses threaten their sense of attractiveness and self-image, so that might be part of how they'll respond if you're bringing news about diagnoses and what can happen to them. May not land so well. Okay. Any questions about that one? I think we'll do one more narcissistic and then we'll just kind of let that kind of hold on. But let's look at narcissistic personality. And of course, this person's in love with himself. This one's pretty interesting too. Pervasive pattern of grandiosity in fantasy or behavior, need for admiration, and lack of empathy. Narcissists like to be, they're it, but they don't really care much about you, not so much. 5 or more of the following: grandiose sense of self-importance. They may exaggerate what they've done. They may make things up. They expect to be recognized as superior without commensurate achievements. So they just think they're it. They're on top of it. They're preoccupied with fantasies of unlimited success, power, brilliance, beauty, or ideal love. They are it. Believes that he or she is special and unique and can only be understood by or should associate with other special or high-status people or institutions. So these people always operate with what's perceived to be the best of the best everywhere because they're that. Requires excessive admiration. You just have to compliment all the time. Just don't ignore a narcissist. They will not like that. They have a sense of entitlement, unreasonable expectation of especially favorable treatment or automatic compliance with his or her expectations because they're superior, And if they think it needs to be done, then you need to do that because it's superior, They're interpersonally exploitative. They take advantage of others to achieve his or her own needs. So you have to be careful about narcissistic personalities. They want to be loved and praised, but they want you to do things to to elevate them even more. They lack empathy, unwilling to recognize or identify with feelings and needs of others. Theirs are more important than yours. Yours probably don't even really count that much. They're often envious of others or believe that others are envious of them. They're so good that they know everybody is so good. They wish they could be them too. They show arrogant, haughty behavior or attitudes. I got 2 clips. You guys see these. This is Dr. Phil. One is kind of like the preview for the actual person, so you guys see both of them. I'll do the thing.
It's still happening to over 50,000 of us in the U.S. each year.
Not anymore, it's not.
On an all-new Dr. Phil. Do you know a narcissist?
This is their favorite item.
Their favorite word is me, 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 me. They just can't get enough of themselves.
I
love looking at myself in the mirror.
It's all about me and what I want. I want him to focus solely on me.
When you are together, are you looking for your reflection in his eye?
How do you confront narcissistic behavior?
Donna Karan is a self-admitted narcissist who compares herself to Gandhi and the Kardashians.
I'm not sure she knows who Gandhi is.
My world revolves around me. Completely. The way you guys have edited that tape, you made me look horrible. I look like a jackass.
Is this a mischaracterization of her?
No.
Ready to get real? Subscribe to the Dr. Phil Show YouTube channel for exclusive videos you won't see anywhere else.
Now you go to part 2. Now they can actually get one on this topic too.
It's all about me.
And I'm just curious why you feel that need for it to always be about you.
I feel that it's all about me, Dr. Phil, and what I want, when I want it.
Why?
Like Baruch Assault.
But why?
Because it's a sense of feeling in control and feeling important. I'm an only child. I don't have any brothers and sisters. I don't feel like I have to share anything or anyone with anyone else. It's all about what I want, when I want it, right now. And if I don't get it, I'll go to the extreme to whatever it is, whatever it takes to get it.
Jeez, what a boring life. Isn't that boring? That you're constantly having to maintain the vigil and kind of me. Doesn't that wear you out? Because you can never relax, because what if he looked the other way?
I'm on him. I'm on him all the
That's
time.
what I mean.
If he
Doesn't
looks
that
the
get-
other way,
doesn't that
and you can
get
tell it in
tiring?
the bags in my eyes at times.
It gets tiring though,
It does
doesn't
get
it?
tiring, but you know what? The mirror is focused on me in my car. The mirrors in my home, there must be a dozen of them. The text messages are on me. I take tons of pictures of myself. I'm all about me. I'm very narcissistic. I'm almost like a narcissistic person and very proud of it. Yet I can admit it. I don't care about anything. I don't care about anyone. I don't care about anybody else's feelings.
Charming. So you live with this. That's right. And does it work?
I want to hear this story. You should talk to me about being married. Good gosh. You got me go crazy. Oh, man. Okay, that's actually pretty good. She didn't have any problem letting you know what she thought about anything. Okay, up to 6% in the general population. Some people think it's actually rising because the culture is so focused on self and the way things are that they think it's out there, but I don't know about that. 50 to 75% of narcissists are men, believe it or not. Many have special difficulty adjusting to the onset of physical and occupational limitations inherent in the aging process. Because it's all about you like to look at yourself, what do you do when you begin to age and you have wrinkles, and if you're a man you lose hair or you don't have your body build the same. Kind of hard. So how do you interact with a narcissistic personality disorder? They handle criticism poorly, so don't do that. They may become easily enraged, and you saw her just like too much. It's kind of like, okay, lady. I mean, I'm just like, you know, take those years and take a hammer and bash them. I don't know what I have. Antisocial personality fights off with narcissism. What could that be if those two got married? Okay, medical illnesses can be a blow to their self-esteem, so they don't need you diagnosing deterioration or diminishment or something like that. Reinforce that they're respected and appreciated, set limits on their demanding behavior, which is all about them and what they need to have done. Okay, I think we're going to stop right there at avoid personality. We'll pick up the rest of these tomorrow afternoon. We'll have plenty of time to get them finished out. But I'm going to give y'all a 10-minute break before Dr. Latassi comes down. Isn't this fun? Don't you love it? I love personality disorders. Okay, take a break.